everything.
Yeah, and that is the generation of social media. Everything's at your fingertips, so you want it now, and you can have it now.
Right.
And they don't realize that you have not earned things, taken time to get things wrong, and learn.
Right. That's why I always say, like, my style of domination is like a form of dark art, because it took me years to perfect, like, I'm not even perfect. I'm still fluctuating and evolving always. But the thing is, it still took me 30 years to know the difference between myself and an Insta-dom is what I like to call them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they don't have any inclination of to what protocol or rules are. They think that you can just collar anybody, and that's the terrible part. And there's so many needy submissives out there that harass me or other doms. I want to be owned. I said, listen, how do you know I even fucking want to own you? You may not be, like, compatible with me. It doesn't matter what you want. It's about what I want. And if I want you to serve me, you're going to do it without fucking hesitation. If you hesitate, que sera, sera, goodbye, you're dismissed, period.
Yeah, and see, with this new age, everything is geared towards sex or money.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
The mind thing is out of the window. They have no concept of the mind. I should be able to do what I do to you or your requirements in a mental way. I shouldn't even have to touch you.
Right.
But everything now is commercialized, and they're going to have sex out of it, or they're going to get money out of it, and that's. And like I said, that's fine if that's what you do. Put it on a T-shirt.
But it's not. But it's not domination. I mean, yeah, you could financially dominate somebody, but basically, what you're doing is you're pussy whipping them into giving them all your money. So that's not really dominating somebody. Controlling somebody is a totally different story. That's like where you actually give them a little bit of mental mind fuckery, and you can actually get them to do things for you with a little bit of, like, how you can bend and command them to your will. But you'd have to have a willing submissive to do that. Not one of these online subs that are like, oh, yes, mistress, I will do what you tell me because you told me so. And then 2 minutes later, they do the complete fucking opposite.
Yeah, and it's no trueness. I watch the interaction with you and Cupcake. I watch everything.
Right.
And there's times, you're all having fun and walking this and this. Once in a while, there'll be a key word that you say or a way you position yourself, and then he positioned himself a certain way or responded in a certain way.
Right, right.
Because it's a real thing, and people don't even know what they're looking at. So, you can't even explain it. It's like, forget about it.
Right.
You don't know.
No, but
you didn't just see how he positioned himself on a certain way based on a certain movement or a word, even in your conversations that you all have.
Right.
Sometimes you'll say something and the tone will come down, and it's just, unless you really know what's going on, you wouldn't even notice it.
Exactly. But see, that's the thing. That's like most people like you and Casey. You guys can, like, read each other to some degree. You can feed off each other. A good dom should be able to read her submissive's body language. That's number one. And read into their mind a little bit to kind of figure out, like, what should I do next with this person? But you shouldn't have to do that. It comes naturally. A good dominant will know what to do without second-guessing themselves.
Yeah. And that comes with time.
Right, with time and patience and years of tutelage is what I like to say. Years of training. Because,
it doesn't come. If you're not over 40, 45, maybe you didn't do this before social media. So you have no concept of have to really talk, spend time, with someone. Now you can do it online. You don't have to ever see, talk, or anything.
I know, it's crazy. I used to dominate subs on webcam, and it was mostly like for humiliation. Like I would tell you some of the things. One guy, I had him wear a plastic bag as pants. Like, I made him wear like a garbage bag, and then another time I made him like take a Q-tip and put icy hot down his penis hole just so I could watch him stand there and squirm. because I want to see how much pain he could take, like as a kind of a test. And then I would make him use clothespins and kind of, torture his C and B for my pleasure, but watching him like humiliate. To me, it was hilarious. Just to see how far one would go, just to like, you know what I mean? Like to see like what I could get away with. But in reality, nothing is better than having that person in front of you. Because to me, online play, yeah, it's all right, but it's not all that's cracked up to me. It's meant for shits and giggles. It's not meant for long-term type of, like stuff. Like it's just not.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely like, there's nothing like having a real dominant standing with a real submissive kneeling below that, like at them. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's true BDSM. When you have a submissive who truly wants to submit because they want to, that's a gift in itself, and it should never be forced or like brought out of somebody. Like you can't, they are just naturally like that.
Mm-hmm.
And these newer people, oh my God, it's like, everyone identifies as a switch nowadays, which is even, I'm sorry, you're either dominant or you're sub. You can't be fucking both.
Yeah, and like I said, with the financial part of it, you're really, per se, not dominating because you're being controlled by the money. So
exactly.
The sub's in charge,
Exactly. The sub is in charge, and the dom is pussy whipped by the money. End of story.
Yeah.
Right? Literally.
And that's the wave of how things are turning to now.
I know, it's awful.
I think another decade, this might be it, where, we will be dinosaurs, because with the social media and the way things are, it's all about money, the sex,
and conformity,
your fame.
I know, yeah. The fame is different. Like I know I've been around a long time and I'm pretty well known in the industry. I'm famous, but not really famous. I'm famous to those who know me, but I'm not famous if you were to like look me up on the internet type. But like the whole thing is that some of these girls, and even these guys, the so-called male masters at like 20 years old, like master of the universe. That's hilarious, right? You're right. They're very chauvinistic. And chauvinistic is not part of being a dominant. I mean, I guess to some people, some sub would say, oh, my dom is totally chauvinistic. Maybe. But that's not like, domination is not about being chauvinistic or being, you're bossy, but not like a bitchy boss. You're like, there's a difference about it. You have like charisma. You just kind of, it's natural. It's not really forced. That's the thing.
Yeah, you have it or you don't.
Exactly.
There's no style. There's no class out here, and you don't have to. Like you say, you just go online and that's it.
Right.
You're a dom, and that's the end of the story. And the sub level of subs are going down. The level of dominance are going down.
Right.
That's the new market.
I know, it's awful. Yeah, I think social media has killed a lot of BDSM type stuff. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
This is another reason why we do this podcast, is to teach people that, the internet is full of different things, obviously. And yeah, the internet's great. Like now you can go on and Google your symptoms and find out if you're sick, like that type of thing. But like, but for BDSM type stuff, it really has killed a lot of the old guard practices that, we believe in. And it has made it so people are like, oh, I can just sign up and become a dominatrix in like 5 minutes and that's my new career. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah. It has to stop. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's awful. I mean, how many days I go on Twitter and I'm like, okay, I have all these new mistresses following me and their profile says 18, blah, 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 findom. So, look, there is a fetish called financial domination, but it's not really a lifestyle. Like, one would have to be wants to be financially dominated. And yes, the sub is in control because the sub is basically using the dominant like a marionette. Right? Which, if it was old school BDSM, the dominant would be using the submissive as a marionette and not the other way around.
Yeah, true.
But these young people, they're so stupid. They do anything for money, and it's like awful. You're right. The internet and social media is killing BDSM. It's terrible stuff. It really is.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I agree. So I was telling Casey earlier, we were talking about fisting. About, Thanksgiving is next week. And when I used to live in upstate New York, I was on Apex, which is the Albany Power Exchange. I was the only dominant who was on the education committee. So I was the only female dom with a whole bunch of male and female submissives who were kind of in charge of coming up with play parties for the next couple of events for Apex. So when I was there, I said, hey, Thanksgiving is coming up, and this is why I was talking about this. I said, wouldn't it be great if we can find somebody to do a fisting demo for Thanksgiving? And we call it stuff a sub, right? And they thought it was really cool. I think they actually got somebody who delved in fisting. It was a male and female couple, and they came and gave like a fisting demo, and they called it Stuff to Sub. So it was.
Gotta do that again.
I know that was pretty. That was probably about, oh God, how many years ago was this now? Probably, I think it was like 2012 when we did this. So it was a lot of fun, and then I did a mummification demo for them and a needle play and violet wand and stapling corset demo. So I had a slave at the time who I actually still own. You'll probably meet him eventually. He's older. He's like 73 years old. He's what you call a masochist. He is a true pain slut. He would lay there and let me basically use surgical staples and needles of different lengths and gauges. And I would kind of, do a needle staple corset type design and then put ribbon, or actually I would use mylar. And then I would use the violet wand on all of this afterwards. Pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
But this guy just laid there. Loved every minute. It was in total fucking subspace. Had to wake him up a few times even. It was like very relaxing. But, I'm a bit of a sadist too. I have hands that are like fucking cement sometimes when I go to spank people. But my favorite thing is my touse.
Your what?
A touse? Do you know what a touse is?
What is that exactly?
Well, I have an interesting touse. Mine is in paddle form. It's two prongs of very thick leather. They used to use it in Scotland. It was meant as a correction tool for very unruly students, is a nice way to put it. And it was invented in Scotland. That's called a touse, TAWSE. And I have a newer age touse, which I have these. It is pretty. I'll take a picture of it and send it to you on Twitter or FetLife or something, or Instagram. This thing is obnoxious. It is heavy duty leather, very well stitched, like two, thick pieces, and it has like red embroidery like on it. So it's like you'll see it, and you basically will use it as a paddle, but it has like a nice thuddy, nasty sting to it. Put it this way, I've smacked Cupcake and Paula with this, and I've bruised them just hitting them once with it.
Okay.
That's how aggressive this thing is. Mm-hmm. It's almost like
it's like double impact when you hit.
Yes, it has two. Okay. Yeah, so it's double impact, right? So basically, it's pretty fucking obnoxious. I've had other dominants upstate when I've done like demos and stuff. Hey, can I borrow your touse? I'm like, sure. So I lend it to them, and they smack this like sub with it, and the sub comes back to me and goes, "Don't ever let them borrow that again."